Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of The Citizen. In the last episode we reached Tier 1 for Microtech, but we didn't get our reward somehow. However, the next day it was in our inventory at New Babbage. We got a jumpsuit and a multi-tool. Especially the multi-tool is pretty cool in the Microtech colors. We started another hauling mission and the first elevator was bugged. There were 2 more elevators at this place, but both of them were occupied by other players. So we just waited until one of them was free to use. That's why I prefer ships with a closed cargo space. This elevator worked perfectly well, so we filled up our ship. By the way, we can't carry all the goods of the mission. The contract requires 180 SCU and our constellation can only handle 168. But it doesn't really matter. As long as you deliver most of the cargo, you will get paid anyway. You just get less money. But after we arrived at Port Twesler, our game crashed. We verified our data and got right back into our mission. We unloaded our goods like a noob with the tractor beam. You will know what I mean a little later in this video. Anyway though, this one was a mess. Right after we unloaded everything on the freight elevator, the game crashed again. Well, and the cargo was a little misplaced after we came back. On top of that, the whole elevator seemed to be buggy because we couldn't place the cargo properly. At least it didn't show us any white grids. So we used our Microtech multi-tool and got rid of all the cargo around the elevator. Then we tried if the elevator works with an empty platform. It did, and so we placed 1 cargo on it. Which also worked out and also counted. And so we filled the elevator with cargo again. But again, the elevator didn't work. Which was a little annoying to be honest, but we found a solution for this bug later on. At this point we didn't know the solution though. Therefore I brought all the cargo to the second elevator of the hangar. After we handled about half the cargo, well, the game crashed again. After many crashes and a lot of extra work, we finished our mission and got rewarded with Tier 2. We submitted the mission even being 12 SCU short, and as you can see we got about 75k instead of the 100. But we were more interested in the SCUs for the race anyway. We got a Microtech armor and a laser handgun. But personally I don't use handguns in Star Citizen. The armor itself is quite okay, but I was much more looking forward to the ship colors. So we started another hauling mission. The elevator worked perfectly well, and even better, there was an Atlas around. So we hopped in and the cargo transfer goes so much quicker. I immediately fell in love with it. Seriously, if you're down for hauling, then you need an Atlas. It's such a quality of life feature for hauling. I can't even express it enough. We uploaded the cargo in no time and flew back to Microtech. Unfortunately, we couldn't take the Atlas with us, so we had to unload like a noob again. And guess what? We faced the same bug again. After a while I noticed that we never had this bug when we didn't stack the cargo on the elevator. This means as long as you don't put one box above the other, the elevator works perfectly well. From then on, we never had a problem with an elevator anymore. Well, at least in our hangar. But also the outpost elevators did work quite well. In fact, mostly 2 of 3 didn't have any bugs. On the other hand, one was mostly bugged as well. But I'm the kind of guy who is way more happy as long as one works. Then I'm mad about one being bugged, if that makes sense. But anyway, we delivered our containers and needed just one more large cargo mission to reach Tier 3. This time there was no Atlas at the pickup area, so we had to use the tractor beam of our constellation. And honestly, once you are used to the Atlas system, the tractor beam feels annoyingly slow. And even worse, another player has jumped the queue while we were getting out of our ship. And he even did something worse a little later on. So we flew over to the other elevator, but this one was broken. Then we flew back, I got myself a coffee, and we watched this wait while we were waiting. Then something suspicious happened. This player already had all his cargo, but he went back into an empty elevator to place something there. And guess what? After he left, we couldn't use the elevator anymore. It was broken. So it isn't always a bug. There are many players around who sabotage elevators on purpose. Freaking glitch abusers in my opinion. Or in other words, cheater. I hate them. I was even looking for that item but couldn't find it. Anyway though, a couple of minutes later the elevator worked again. So I guess the devs already added some mechanics to counter those people. We got the rest of our cargo, flew back and got rewarded with Tier 3. The problem is we got 3 ship colors for ships we don't own. Therefore my main goal is Tier 4, because in Tier 4 we get a color for the Freelancer and the Constellation. Before we continued to do missions, we had to fly to Hurston though, because it was time to get our own Atlas system. So we headed to New Deal at Lorville, and they are even surprisingly cheap. And boy, they are worth it. From now on, we had our own Atlas system with us all the time. So we accepted another mission and proudly used our new toy. I love the Atlas. Even better though, thanks to the insurance you can just leave them back. So you don't have to waste any of your cargo space. Back at the hangar we just claimed a new one. By now you don't have to pay any expedited fee. Because somehow the Atlas is immediately available as soon as you claimed it. Even though it says 2 minutes 30 seconds. I guess that's also a bug. And will probably be fixed in the future. By now though it works and you see not every bug is a bad bug. But even without that bug you can access your Atlas within 2 minutes and 30 seconds at almost every place. Which makes your hauling life so much better. We played some more missions and we are just one away from tier 4. Of course at this point there wasn't any large cargo mission available. But in general there were way more missions available than in the last episode. So I guess they also fixed some of these issues. Anyway though, we accepted another kind of mission. Our goal was to bring back cargo which was stolen from the company. We flew to Dan's Peak at the moon Clio. Is it called Clio in English? I would say Clio in German. I don't know, anyway. The landing pads were occupied by other ships, even though there weren't any players around. Therefore we just landed anywhere nearby. I didn't know what to expect, so we approached the area with our rifle. We had to take down some enemies. To get our stolen cargo back. At one point in between some enemies spawned back. But nothing crazy after all. Well, but once again, we were stopped by a bug. Somehow we glitched into the environment and couldn't get out again. So we had to go back to the menu and lost our mission. The good thing was, meanwhile was another large cargo mission available. We finished it and finally reached tier 4. But again, it wasn't immediately available. The next day though, we could find it in our inventory. Therefore I want to end the video by showcasing the colors of the ships, but also share my opinion on how to handle bugs in Star Citizen, or any alpha game after all. Because that's the point right there. It's alpha. I saw so many people complaining and crying about bugs. I even saw thumbnails who told me this is the end of Star Citizen. The end? What is the end? Bugged elevators? They are in the game since day one. Alpha games have bugs, sometimes more, sometimes less. Each update that offers new features or events also offers a very high chance of getting new bugs or having a comeback of old, former already solved bugs. That's alpha business as usual. As I often mentioned, I have played plenty of alpha games, and each of them had bugs. Seriously, how can anyone complain about bugs in an alpha? So many people talk like they are experts on development. Like there was a magical spell that can make bugs disappear and never ever return. Do they even know what a bug is? I mean, the technical part behind? I don't think so. And that's why they all talk shit. Sorry to say that directly, but most people just talk shit. Hundreds of people working on a code that has never been written on such a scale before. With new features like server meshing, which also never have been done in such a way before. But yeah, hundreds of people should work and get their code together without having any issues. At least that seems to be what some people expect. Those people clearly never have worked in a team before. So to say how it is, to expect an alpha game without bugs just shows me how less educated these people are. You don't like bugs? They annoy you? You can't handle losing your progress? A game crashing a couple of times? Then stay away from alpha games. It's that simple. It's your fault if you can't handle it. Alpha is alpha, period. There isn't even much room for discussion, and you know me, I love to discuss. But you can't expect to jump in a car and drive away while it's still in the middle of the production line. That doesn't work, and most people also accept that. Why don't people accept that when it comes to alpha games? So after all, yes, there are many new and also old bugs during the race for Stanton. Yet I had so much fun and even made a lot of progress in a rather short amount of time. Well, short in Star Citizen terms. Anyway though, I can't follow the logic of all the crybabies out there. Feel free to challenge me in the comments, but be aware I have plenty of arguments and examples of other alpha games. So please, if you challenge me, come prepared and argue with examples and not your personal feelings. Last but not least, I love our new ship colors and will try to reach tier 4 of Hurston Dynamics next. Because we don't have any ship which colors are offered in tier 5 anyway. I hope you enjoyed the video and sorry for the little rant in the end. Your Mombi.